Welcome once again to Sim Action Cars Review channel. Please don't forget to subscribe, press the bell button and also, comment down below. We'll be discussing the 2023 Mercedes-Benz EQS SUV in today's video, so settle in, unwind, and grab a beverage while I fill you in on all the details of this opulent car. The EQS has been an exceptionally huge vehicle for Mercedes-Benz, featuring the organization's thriving EQ electric sub-brand while stretching the boundaries of auto innovation, optimal design, and extravagance. However fantastic as that vehicle may be, it's as yet a vehicle untied in an ocean of SUVs. Which makes the new 2023 EQS SUV an altogether obvious turn of events, however one close to 100% to have a considerably more prominent importance in the commercial center. With base costs going from $105,450 to $127,000, equivalent to the low rooftop EQS, the EQS SUV is an extravagant group mover that works in close to quietness. Consider it an electric GLS class that is 3.2 inches more limited by and large yet with a 3.0-inch longer wheelbase. The reasonable items of SUV utilize imply that it trades the capsule molded outside of its 4-entryway partner for a more regular, upstanding plan that potential purchasers ought to see as serenely natural. That it likewise can gobble up to 7 tenants through a discretionary third line of seats won't do any harm. With a drag coefficient of simply 0.26, the EQS SUV is smooth for a utility vehicle, which, alongside its strong dark nosepiece dabbed with 3-pointed stars, assists it with stepping the line among customary and cutting edge. From specific points, its taxi-forward extents and a rooftop 4.2 inches lower than a GLS's provides this EQS with the energy of a minivan, yet with a polish that Benz's old R-Class won't ever accomplish. As the primary SUV to be based on the organization's EVO 2-stage, a task that happens at Mercedes' plant in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, the EQS SUV rides on similar 126.4-inch wheelbase as the EQS 4-entryway and offers its power units and floor-mounted battery pack, despite the fact that limit is up marginally to 108.4 kilowatt-hours. The standard EQS 450 Plus model has a solitary engine on its back hub that is great for 355 drive and 419 pound-feet of force. An all-wheel drive 454-matic rendition adds a front hub engine that ups the consolidated force figure to 590 pound-feet without changing the all-out horse count. Beating the setup is the double-engine EQS 584-matic with its 536 ponies and 633 pound-feet. 3 trim levels, Exceptional, Elite, and Apex, change the level of innovation and plushness, yet all vibe suitably rich inside. As you'd expect of a bigger, heavier vehicle that pokes a greater hole in the climate, the SUV has a more limited assessed range than the EQS 4-entryway, an EPA-evaluated 305 miles for the 450 Plus and 285 miles for 4MATIC models, contrasted with 350 and 340 miles, separately, for the EQS 450 and 580 cars. Those are still respectable figures, however, and the EQS 580 was one of a handful of the EVs to beat its true gauge in our testing. Such true proficiency looks good for the precisely comparative SUV, yet we'll affirm that when we inspire one to test. Mercedes says a 240-volt outlet will charge the SUV from 10 to 100% in barely 11 hours, with 10 to 80% fill-ups at a DC quick charger that can yield the EQS's 200 kilowatts greatest requiring 31 minutes. Our cruise all over Denver, Colorado, included both 450 Plus and 584-matic models, the last option being our number one thanks to its capacity to crush its tenants back in their seats in game mode. There additionally are Eco, Solace, Individual, and rough terrain settings. We expect a 60 miles per hour season of 4.2 seconds, which backs up the 580's impression of rapidity. The 454-matic ought to be more similar to 5.5 seconds to 60 miles per hour and the standard 450 plus 6.2 seconds. This shouldn't imply that the lesser 4MATIC rendition feels lazy while proceeding onto the thruway, however its muffled push just doesn't hit as hard, and it tightens as rates rise. An all the more remarkable AMG rendition isn't at present arranged, yet Mercedes says a glitzier Maybach model is in progress. This comfortable family transport is at its best while serenely cruising, its standard air springs and versatile dampers assisting it with floating not too far off with a calming feeling of seclusion from the rest of the world. Its lodge is charmingly tranquil underneath triple-digit speeds, and its design felt stunningly strong, in any event, while wavering on two wheels on a snow-capped rough terrain course. Rough terrain mode helps here by raising the air springs about an inch to give 8.7 creeps of ground leeway. However, whether arcing through stunning mountain passes or exploring tight paths that it probably won't ever find in reality, the EQS SUV's taking care of capacity is supported by standard back hub directing that can turn the back tires up to 10 degrees, causing it to feel unbelievably spry for its size. Wheel sizes range from 20 to 21 inches. Delicate body incline around corners is at any point present, yet input from the unresponsive, counterfeit inclination guiding isn't. Like other EQ models, the EQS SUV includes a few sound profiles that play through speakers inside and beyond the vehicle, with their rotating whooshes and hums fluctuating from somewhat engaging to irritating. All can be switched off. Tragically, there's no off switch for the electronic brake pedal that the EQS imparts to other electric Mercedes models. It feels delicate and soft by and large, yet will solidify and push down on its own areas of strength for under slowing down. Mercedes says this is a proficiency disapproved of element that additionally assists with preparing for abrupt stops. Yet, we found its conflicting activity not great for driver certainty, especially when the programmed Regan mode in any case functions admirably. We frequently made do with a moderate degree of Regan, chose through the guiding wheel paddles, for more prominent consistency. There's a lot of better executed innovation in plain view inside the EQS SUV, including a huge number of dynamic security highlights. Benz's support point-to-support-point hyperscreen infotainment framework, which includes 3 presentations under a solitary sheet of glass and even permits front seat travelers to watch recordings and mess around, is standard on the top EQS 580 model. Lesser trims at first may be accessible with a 12.3-inch computerized instrument group and a 12.8-inch touchscreen. However, the big screen's refreshed driver configurable landing page and gigantic guide show with expanded reality route are useful while looking for charging stations in new regions. The expectation to learn and adapt for the MBUX working framework is steep, and the readout situating across the SUV's high cowl makes for a ton of diverting pixels. Joined with a practically complete dependence on particular touch-delicate controls, remembering for the directing wheel, communicating with the EQS SUV requires practice and tolerance. Move aft, and the inside's luxury reaches out to the standard power-collapsing 40/20/40 split second column seat, which offers 5 creeps of front/rearward travel and liberal lean-back changes. However, warming components and back seat diversion are discretionary. Individual skipper's seats are not advertised. Solace levels are high, movable encompassing lighting flourishes, and the materials and completions are beautiful. Dissimilar to in the EQS 4 entryway, headroom was a non-issue for this 5'11" Creator, and there was sufficient space to fold our legs with the center column pushed as far as possible back. Tap a button on the second column seat back and it overlaps and slides forward for admittance to the discretionary third line of seats. Anybody past their adolescent years might need to agile up prior to moving back there, yet when arranged they'll find extra USB outlets, discretionary but radiators and environment controls, in addition to sufficient room underneath the center column for their loafers. Legroom fluctuates from respectable to squashed knees, contingent upon how circumspect second column inhabitants are with their seat changes. Notwithstanding, restricted headroom from the slanting roofline implies taller riders may be content on short takes. Freight space behind the third column is an unobtrusive 7 cubic feet, yet contingent upon the seating setup, there really depends on 23 solid shapes accessible behind the center line and up to 74 cubic feet with every one of the back seats stashed. While the more affordable gas-consuming GLS class offers more prominent freight volumes and can tow altogether more, 7,700 pounds versus the EV's 3,500, the EQS SUV is definitely more flexible than its car kin. That its styling is more rural than sci-fi might be an extra draw for some. A trade-off is that the ongoing impediments of charging in a hurry will additionally muddle the family travels that this utility vehicle was intended for, so plan as needs be while going to Wally World. Yet, taking into account the amount more Mercedes you get for a similar cost as the 4 entryway, this SUV is the most convincing EQS yet. I'm glad that you now fully understand this vehicle. Would you kindly do me the favor of subscribing to this channel and pressing the notification bell button so that you are notified as soon as we upload another video like this? Thank you.